Hey guys, welcome back to Love Your Shelf. I'm Tracy. Today I wanted to talk to you about something that I talk about all the time, and that's okay because it keeps happening. So that is, I want to talk to you about like good book hauls that I got through Goodwill. So what that means is that I got probably around 25 books for just under $80, and I want to talk to you about some of them. So full disclosure is, as soon as I get books, normally I figure out where to put them in my bookshelf. So right now my bookshelf looks a little, oh, there we go. It looks better if we do that. So my bookshelf does look a little underdressed. That's not the right word, but I don't care. It's perfect. Currently, because I try to take all of the books that I've gotten from Goodwill in a bit and, put them in a pile that I can just pick up. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first book that I found from Goodwill is Orson Scott Card's book called Enchantment. So Orson Scott Card is the same author of Ender's Game, and this is a totally different thing. So this is about a guy that like stumbles across a beautiful princess who was laying still as death. I'm kind of reading some of it. And then years later, he's compelled to return this place where he found this woman. But instead of like running away, he does something about it. So I don't know what he does, but it's crazy to think that Orson Scott Card, the guy that wrote Ender's Game, wrote something like this that could potentially be like Renaissance-y and fairy tale-y. So I'm excited about that book. The next book is Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. So I know nothing about this book, but it's an interesting color. Let's talk about that first. No, just kidding. Let's not. It's an interesting color and it's an interesting name. And I've heard good things about it. So it isn't on my list for something I need to read right away, but I'm still interested in it. So I got it. Then I got Elsewhere. And originally I got Elsewhere before I read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. And then I read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. And now I cannot wait to read this book too and see what is going on with it. The next book I got because, and it has a beautiful cover, and we'll see. Oh yes, this is why I got it. I thought so. With an unforgettable cast of characters that includes a teenage girl with special powers, a handsome gardener, a fussy ghost, and an array of irresistible four-legged friends. The Keeper of Lost Things is a heartwarming read about second chances, endless possibilities, and joyful discoveries. So somehow I got into that last paragraph and I was like, ghosts and like four-legged friends, which to me means dogs, but I could be wrong. Yes, I will be there. So The Keeper of Lost Things, I'm very interested in that. It's by Ruth Hogan. I accidentally covered up her name. Then I also got The Sun and Her Flowers, which is a poetry book I've been wanting to read forever, by Rupi Kaur. And along with that, I also got Milk and Honey. So I'm excited about that. Last year I tried to incorporate more poetry into things, and I only read like 3 books of poetry, and I really want to read, like, I have a list of poetry books I want to read, so I'm really going to hopefully delve into that this year. Another one I got is Walking on Water by Madeleine L'Engle. So sometimes I get books because of covers, sometimes because of what they're called. In this case, I got it because of the author. So this is the same author as A Wrinkle in Time. So this is the same author as A Wrinkle in Time. And this is a spiritual book about reflections on faith and art. And I grew up Lutheran, and I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I don't know what I believe. Something. I believe in something, and I plan on figuring that out soon, and I don't think that will help, but I'm still interested in the book. I also got this book called City of Saints and Thieves. Mostly because it's black and has purple writing on the border. It caught my eye. But then as I read through what it's about, after fleeing the Congo's refugees, Tina and her mother arrive in Kenya hoping for a better life. I can't believe their luck when Tina's mother finds work as a maid, but then like a bunch of things happen from this house that she is a maid in. So I'm very interested in this book. It looks exciting and it definitely has my aesthetic, black and purple, and so I'm here for it. The next book I found is a book I've heard so many good things about, which is The Strange and Beautiful Life. Nope, just kidding. The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton. I'm not trying to flip you guys off. I'm just trying to move my finger. And this book supposedly, well, not supposedly, it does. People told me it has a lot of trigger warnings, but it's beautifully written. And I am a sucker for anything that's beautifully written, no matter how tragic it is. Last year, the beginning of last year, I read The Firekeeper's Daughter. And in that book, they talk a lot about this author who I'd never heard of. And it's James A. Michener. Now, this book, The Bridge at Andu, is one of the shortest books he's written. Everything else he's written is like 1,000 pages long, and I want to read him, but it's a huge commitment. And I finally found this tiny little book by him that's based on a true story. Then I got Peril in paperback, which is different. I mean, it's about a book. It's a bibliophile mystery. Beep. It's a bibliophile mystery. So why not? Like, let's do it. I really enjoy, or I try to read an Agatha Christie book once a year, and I didn't do that last year, I don't think. And so I feel like it's time to get back into mystery a little, and I found this book. And also at my Goodwill, but not at every Goodwill, you get 25% off every book. Yeah, that's right. If you buy at least 10 books. So that's pretty awesome. And so sometimes I buy things just because I need my 10th book so I can get 25% off. So this is Tapestry of Fortunes. And it's about a motivational speaker who encourages others to change their life for the better, but she can't do it for herself. And then she decides to because her best friend passes away. So she pretty much sells everything and starts traveling. And minus my best friend passing, because I don't know what I'd ever do if that happened, that's right up my alley. And oddly, this is pretty much exactly the same thing, but different. So this is about a best friend who passed away, and she has Annie Freeman's fabulous traveling funeral. It begins with a UPS package. Inside is a red pair of sneakers filled with ashes and a note that will forever change their lives. Catherine's oldest and dearest friend, the irrepressible Annie Freeman, left one final request, a traveling funeral, and she wants the most important women in her life as pallbearers. So this is another like woman, feminine community is really important, and who you surround yourself with is really important, and to embrace those relationships that you have, because they are really the best things that can ever happen to you. And I'm there for that. I also got Big Magic, which is a self-help book that I've heard nothing but good things about. And I love a good self-help book. So I'm excited to read that. It's been on my list forever. Chronicles from the Land of the Happiest People on Earth. The synopsis says, in an imaginary Nigeria, a cunning entrepreneur is selling body parts stolen from Dr. Menka's hospital for use in ritualistic practices. I literally didn't read anything else. I was like, this book is weird, and I'm here for it. So I got that too. And then I found Griffin and Sabine and Sabine's Notebook. So normally these come in a pack of 3. There's 6 total, I think. And they are like $120 for the 3-pack or $60 per thing. And what it is it's about these lovers who write each other postcards. And so you get to see the postcard that they send, and they're like weird postcards, or the letters that they send on the stationery. And it still has the stuff in it. And this was at Goodwill. So I got these books for $4 each, and I freaked out. So these are books that my sister had when I was younger, and I would read them when I was bored. So I read these books, Griffin and Sabine, and I fell in love with them. And I used to have them, but I'm dumb and don't any longer, or didn't any longer. And then I found these 2 books. So it's not the box set, it's 2 books. I don't care. I was so excited that I got these from Goodwill. And they're $4 each. Hey, I accidentally pressed mute, so I had to redo the whole portion of this video. But we're just going to keep going. So some other books that I got from Goodwill is Shuggie Bain, which I'm very excited about. I heard that it's incredibly devastating. I've heard really amazing things about it. I am scared to read it because it's devastating, but I am probably going to wait and end up reading that at some point in time. So I'm excited about that. It won the Booker Prize in 2020, and I've heard just nothing but amazing things on top of like it also being really sad and depressing. I want to read more classics, and I found John Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath, so I grabbed that also. It's a much larger book than Of Mice and Men, which is the only John Steinbeck book that I've read so far, but yeah, I want to check it out as well, so I'm excited for that too. I also got Wild Card, which is the second book. I think it's a duology. It's called Warcross by Marie Lu. I haven't checked, but I have the first book, and I do plan on reading that soon. And I just got this book at Goodwill also, so that when I'm done with the first one, I can read the second one right away, which I'm very excited about. I also got this book. It's called Girls Like Us. It's about 4 teenagers that had an unplanned pregnancy and how different each of them were. And I don't know why, but for some reason I am very interested in this. And then today, while I was out, I got John Krakauer's, I don't know how you say his name, but he's my favorite journalist. Where Men Win Glory. So this is about a football player who had like millions of dollars, and he decided to give it all away and join the army. And it's based on a true story. His name is Pat Tillman, the guy that it's based off of. And I try to read something by John Krakauer every year. He's my favorite journalist. I follow him on Instagram, and he's just really amazing. He's a really cool guy that goes on lots of adventures. One of my favorite books in the world, In Thin Air, is by him, and it's his adventure story about climbing Mount Everest. And unfortunately, there were people that passed in that specific climb because of a storm that they didn't see coming. So, and then the last book I got is called Cinnamon and Gunpowder, which is very weird. The pirate is a woman, and it's about her chef that's on her boat or ship. And it's not something I would normally read, but I've literally been seeing this book everywhere, and it's not a new book. And I feel like when I go somewhere, if I see books multiple places, then that means that I need to check it out. Like there's a reason that it's calling to me. So I do plan on reading that probably in second or third quarter of this year. So those are the books that I got from Goodwill. It's always a good idea to check out your local Goodwill. Other places to get books are antique shops, and other places to get books for cheap also is your local library. A lot of times local libraries have like books that people can donate, and then they sell them, and then that gives back to the local library as well. So there's a few places that I hit up on a pretty regular basis just to see what they have to offer, and read, books that I've been wanting to read for cheaper. Is there anything in here that I got that you're interested in reading or that you have read that I definitely need to read right away? Please let me know. Thank you so much for coming to Love Your Shelf. I'm Tracy. Have a great day, guys. Namaste.